Welcome to Herlefeld for Farming Simulator 11, an app created by SourceWorks and Desperados93. Well, hello everyone. In this episode here, I'm doing a voiceover. I previously recorded this because I wanted to try something different in this episode. But as you'll soon see, we're tabbing around to the equipment here, just starting things up. We'll be finishing combining a canola field here. There's a little dab of baling left to do, and then we'll spend pretty much the rest of the time hauling bales, and there's a ton of them to haul. Made a whole bunch of them, and so we'll need to carry them to market, mainly down at the PGA. I think there's a place to drop them in there. I had hoped we could turn them into manure, but I don't think we have that particular script. So what I wanted to try in this episode that I haven't tried before was, and it's kind of entertaining reading to me, I don't know why, maybe it's just me, but as shown kind of down in the app description, you can get Herlefeld over at Modhoster. And Modhoster anymore is kind of a quirky site. Don't know who's running it. I half wonder at times if one day I'll try the site and it just simply won't be available. They used to have all these cool tools, there where you could sort and filter mods that you wanted to have. I mean, you could at least separate them between the various types of farming sim. And all in all, I don't mean to be critical of them. I'm just glad they're still a place, where you can find and download Farm Sim 11 mods. But when a mod is posted there, they of course have it isn't a forum, although they do have a forum, but they have a place, where people can make comments on the mod. And Herlefeld, I believe it was originally posted, I'm just looking at the dates here, December 14th of 2011. So would have been a little over a year after Farm Sim 11, first came out. And the reason I think it was posted on the 14th is that's kind of the earliest date of the comments. Oh yeah, I went up the road there with a tractor. That's kind of silly. I just mainly wanted to see if it went somewhere. So that's all I was doing up there. But anyway, people could make comments, and it was intended to be helpful. I think they had that over at FSU UK also, where you could, if there was problems you had with the mod, bugs that you found, questions or whatever, you could just put them in the forum or an area where you could ask questions, and then it was up to the modder or others to kind of help you out and get back to you. A lot of times, and maybe it comes from language difficulties. I realize it's an international community that plays farming simulators. Sometimes it flat out is inattentiveness. A lot of times there's lots of details that are in the mod description, and sometimes people of course would ask questions and they already had the answer if they would have just taken time to read the info. And then other times, I think additional versions of the mod were added, additional documentation or that kind of thing was added, and maybe some of it stemmed, from the questions that people asked. So I have in front of me, it started as 70 pages, when I downloaded the comments, if you will. Basically just brute force, copy pasted them. I'm sure there's better ways to get them off of a website. I just kind of chose to copy paste them and put them in a word processor, deleted all the pictures, a whole bunch of spaces, just to try to tidy it up a little bit. And I was gonna just kind of go through some of these, and I think I'll go through them kind of in reverse order. So I'm at the end of the document that I had and just kind of looking at it. So it's just kind of interesting seeing the things on here, and it's interesting in its own right, just to see kind of some of the names of these people. I've always thought it's interesting the handles or pseudonyms or whatever you call that, nicknames that people give themselves. I'm looking at this here, Chef TS, LS Driver. I think LS is for, I don't know how to say it in German, but that's an acronym. Same thing we'd say FS in English. Carbon Whistler, Farmer 110, Meckel 34, and so on and on and on. Who knows who all these people are. But they took time, presumably, to download the map and give it a try, or maybe they didn't, and they were just asking questions. And as you know, kind of in the early initial episodes of this series, we talked a little about some of the accompanying mods, and so why there wasn't back in the day more mod packs, I really don't know. I think some of it had to do with mod rights, observing whatever niceties that some of the modders had, and wanting to control their mod. There wasn't as many, I don't feel, mod packs. And it would have been so helpful if you need a group of mods, kind of like the Feldy series that I did. It's so helpful when you can just download the map and have a whole bunch of mods that come with it, so you can enjoy the map as it's intended to be enjoyed, versus having to go on a hunt mission to try to find all the needed mods. And particularly now, 2011 is a number of years ago, it's 2026 now, and so it's getting a lot harder, and that's kind of why I'm grateful a site like Modhoster still exists. It's getting harder and harder to find, Farming Sim 11 mods. So when you don't have a mod pack that you can easily download, it can really be problematic and sometimes impossible to find all the mods that you need, because they're spread all over creation and links are broken, and it's just not a fun exercise. So anyway, without much further ado, and I don't know how many episodes this will go, I figured I'd look at some of these comments. Some do, that doesn't really make sense. Some guy is letting everybody know he's downloading it, keep it up. I don't know why people take pains to say downloading now. Not sure anybody cares that you're downloading it, but they feel the need to tell the whole creation. Map was available for download over the weekend. What has changed? Is it the same app or has it been modified? Not sure why you'd ask that on the day it comes out, but okay. Do I have to start a new save game, or can the old one still be used? Oh, I see. The version we're using, I think, is version 3. So probably anybody that was using version 1 or 2, when they see a new version drop, of course, that's a reasonable question to ask. Everything's running smoothly, perfectly, nothing getting stuck in the sales hall anymore. Corn silage recognized by the PDA. Okay, yeah, everything's great. I guess that's kind of good feedback for the modder. Sometimes, having made some of my own mods, they work perfectly the last you knew, and then you upload them somewhere and someone else gives them a try and it runs into all sorts of problems. So it is helpful to the modder to know, that all's well. My game sometimes crashes in the yard. Yeah, don't know what the app means. Could be mod conflicts. Who knows? Are there now 2 cow pastures or just the new one? From the picture, I much prefer the old one, if only because there's no grass on the new one and it's the original one. That's another thing. You make this new mod, you change it, you update it, whatever, and there's going to always be somebody it isn't good enough for, they prefer the previous version, whatever. I always figure it's up to the modder to make it exactly how he wants it, and everybody else, once they get in their hands, they can modify it further however much they want. Is it possible that the gate at the dealership won't open? Yeah, I think there probably is a particular script you need to have. I don't remember what it's called, where you have to have it in there or the gates won't open. So, I mean, that's some of the pain whenever you get a map that relies on additional mods. You got to go find them. And that's just kind of the long and the short of it. If you don't have them, you're kind of dead in the water. New drive-through silos are absolutely necessary at the cow farm, like the ones in picture 4 of this map. Oh yeah, that's a great comment to leave the mapper. Hey, your map isn't good enough the way you make it. Look at how someone else did it and make it like that over here. Well, personally, I guess I kind of sympathize. I like the drive-through silos, but hey, it's still up to the mapper to set it up how they wish. Can someone tell me how to install the manure mod? Please reply. And a lot of these, I think, did have replies. See, this is a quirk of Modhoster too, by the way. Many of these start discussion threads. You can reply to somebody, give an answer. For whatever reason, that part isn't working right now. I tried to print everything, but I think on some of these items there are additional comments. But I would click on it to see it. It would reveal it for a moment, and it would close it. So I think got something wrong going on. Where are the cows they bought, and where is the milking parlor? It's all on the map. If you look around, where did the milking system go? Did it have to be moved because of the risk of it falling? Everything was working fine for me on the old cow pasture before. I have no idea what they mean about the risk of it falling. That's kind of bizarre. Hi, I can start the game and it runs, but I can't open the info or buy button windows. Does anyone know what to do? Yeah, it sounds like an odd conflict. I think the BGA is there because there's a logging operation. Some of these comments make no sense. And of course, I'm reading them after they've been translated from whatever language they were in. I think Modhoster is a German site, so most of the posts that are on there are going to be in the German language, and so I had to use Google Translate, so it doesn't always come over. But yeah, this fella's right. Where the logging operation was, and we talked about it in an earlier episode, that whole thing is plucked up and replaced with the BGA when you have the appropriate mod. Could someone please add the DLC to BGA to this map, or even better, keep the existing silos, but allow them to be driven together like in the DLC BGA? Could someone please do this? Please send me a private message. Oh, if a guy had a nickel for, comments like this, you could have a lot of wealth build up, and I get it. I know in the early days when I played Farming Sim, I didn't know how to mod either, and so, but I think sometimes some folks can be pretty demanding. They don't like how it is, but they're unwilling to learn how to do it themselves, or they know how, but they're lazy. Whatever it is, they want someone else to do it, and probably most often they aren't going to find anybody who wants to do it. I like what's in the last 6 pictures, but otherwise I don't like the map. Oh, well, I guess that's feedback. Whatever. Anyway, so the map is working fine, but where are the cows I bought? I just noticed there are only decorative cows in the pasture, and the milking machine is missing too. Why is that? This definitely needs to be reworked immediately. Okay. It's just so interesting. You'll see one comment right beside another where one guy says everything is perfect, love the map, and then you'll have a comment like that. Hey, there's stuff wrong, I don't like this, you need to rework it immediately. Chop chop. Yeah, as if the modder operates a Yorb, Ek, and Call. Alright, then there's another comment here. It's a little bit longer. Small suggestion, and I know everyone will complain again, saying that's unrealistic, but couldn't you generally remove the obstacles from fences, trees, etc.? Like in the North Eifel region, that must be another map. For example, when you're chopping or cultivating, it's always difficult because the helper keeps getting stuck, and when you're silage harvesting, you can just say you have to mow around that area because I know that already. But that's not possible in single player. I'm not sure what he means, not possible in single player. We've commented on the app before, and sometimes, I mean, it's a deliberate decision the app makes as to whether to have collisions on fence posts, and it's a decision on whether to make, in this era of farming sim, make something friendly to course play or not, and getting rid of collisions makes it a little bit easier to work, not only with the helpers but also course play. But yeah, I know in a previous episode I removed collisions from every tree. Not so much because I don't like the collisions, I was just desperate because I kept crashing all the time, and I think I, fingers crossed, have a fix for that. But now I don't have collisions on the trees anymore. So maybe I didn't have to take them off, but anyway, it is what it is. I'm not out driving around in the trees anyhow. Alright, what else is here? I have the BGA in the mods folder, but the wood dealer is still there. Yeah, you're gonna run into problems like that. Great map, simply brilliant. And then right next to it, well, the old one was better at trees. Can't make everybody happy. Another fella here asking the modder to redo it. Could you rebuild the map with the old trees? I don't really like version 2 with the new trees anymore. Playing the map with the old trees is much more fun. It would be absolutely fantastic and incredibly kind if someone could do that. Well, probably would. Can't please everyone. If you want to drive to the silo is already almost full. Huh? Okay. As I see it, the large stones are still an improvement for a version 3. Not sure what they mean by large stones, but they so much wanted their comment known, they posted it twice. Hi, is the Fanta 820 Vario from the video available for download on this page? Oh my goodness, that happens a lot too. They aren't so interested in the map. They want to have the mods that you're using. You know, probably the map author maybe did a video tour, or somebody did, and so they're asking about another mod entirely, you know, which doesn't really belong on this page. I need some quick help. Which BGA scripts from Hetty do I need? Hetty, I think, is another modder. Map BGA and Map BGA Silo, or just Map BGA. I think this was all in the map description, but like so many, this person probably didn't take time to read the description before downloading. The map is great. Is it much better than version 1? Well, maybe this person didn't play version 1. And I have another question. I always see so many different machines driving around in multiplayer in the videos. Is it still the case that everyone who wants to play multiplayer needs the same machines, or has something changed so that's no longer the case? Please, can someone help me? And of course, even in the most recent versions of the game, that is definitely still the case. You have to have the same mods in a multiplayer session, or not everybody will be able to connect. That's just kind of how it is. Guys, I'll put everything back. Real cows and a milking machine are on this map, so at field number 33 is a new cow pasture, and there are the real cows and the milking machine. Everything is okay up to that point. Now that person, is that, it was Reen 45. I don't know who that is. Maybe that's someone who's doing further work on the map. I don't think that's the original author. It's me again. It would be great if all the fence posts and trees were drivable in version 3 because my descent, I don't know what word he's trying to use, because my helper keeps getting stuck. Okay, remove collisions. Yeah, we talked about that. Can't they just remove the stupid collision feature? That dumb assistant gets stuck everywhere anyway. Yeah, true that. It's especially true on some of those trees where, not the fir trees or the pine trees that were in the map. This happened more with the deciduous trees because they had branches kind of hanging down, and you never knew when one of the silly things was going to grab you because you had to drive underneath or go by some of them. So I understand the complaint. Yeah, but you could also remove them yourself with the editor. Okay, hey, I think this map is great. Only one thing bothers me. Not every field has hedge entrances. That's a shame. Otherwise, I highly recommend it. Hedge? Yeah, I'm not sure what that means. If it means a literal hedge, kind of like all the UK maps have hedge. I'm not sure what exactly they're meaning. But, okay, whatever, another opinion. The map is really awesome. I really like the village. But I have 2 improvement requests. First, the shop wall needs to be extended. When I buy a trailer, I have to drive through the fence, which is annoying. Second, the whole map needs to be expanded as a section is missing where the highway just ends. That would be great, but still, it's a great map, no complaints or anything. Really good. And yeah, that's true, I guess, but when you have a landlocked map, that's simply reality. At some point, a road is going to end, the map is going to have an edge. So even if Herlefeld was expanded, it's still going to have an edge somewhere. Unfortunately, that's just reality. Can't have the whole world as a map. Oh yeah, another question on what version, whether you need a new save game. The map doesn't deserve premium. It didn't even run for 10 minutes for me. Even maps that are months old and over 300 megabytes run better. Well, I wonder if this person was having some of the trouble that I was having. I mean, maybe they didn't have a very strong computer and they needed more sauce under the hood to run it, or maybe it just was a memory issue. So far, so good. Ever since I installed that, whatever that was called, large address something or other, I've been able to run it just fine. But maybe this person had that problem, and it isn't the mapper's fault. It's a game limitation. My multiplayer playing working in 5 minutes and then it closes down. Don't know what the app means. Maybe some other problem. The app is really good. There aren't many apps as good and detailed as this one. Definitely recommend it. That's a positive comment. Let's see here. The new cow pasture was just thrown together, not great at all. Honestly, the map isn't any better than version 1 because the draw distance isn't great. Everything only loads after 30 meters. That was better in version 1. You can't feed the cows, which is also annoying. Version 2 is a mess. I've never seen so few cows on the old pasture in real life. And I do wonder if some of these comments are related to a previous version of the game. I mean, and we'll maybe see once we buy some cows, in the game, and we'll see if it runs or if it handles, if they show up. I'm assuming they will. I know kind of where the cow pasture is, so we just need to buy some cattle. But this version, or this person here, said it was just thrown together and it isn't good at all. Well, looks okay to me, and I know you can feed the cows. In an earlier episode, I did some extra potting, and I took a bale of hay over there so we could put bales kind of into the feeding trough, and it took it. So I know you can feed them. You just got to know kind of where the trigger is to put it in there. And then for the view distance, that's something, I've just gotten in the habit of changing on the maps that I spend any time on, just to push it out there as far as I can. The trouble is it requires more memory to do that. So even the base game itself, I think, limits you to 80 meters or whatever the distance is. So, yeah, I think I put it out to 100, maybe 120 meters, whatever I could get away with, just to push that, circle out there. But hey, I totally get it. He doesn't like it being 30 meters out. I wouldn't either. I'm definitely willing to sacrifice some frame rate, to have a better looking picture. The app is awesome, highly recommended, really cool app, recommended. Awesome app, kudos to the modder. One question, where can you sell your straw or hay bales? This is where a manual accompanying the map or a trigger reference can really help, because unless the triggers are noted in game with the yellow boundaries around them so that the player knows where to go. I know those yellow things aren't there in real life, but you gotta know where to take stuff. Otherwise, you have trouble like here. Well, where can you sell your hay and straw bales? I know there's several triggers you can put it into, but you gotta know where the silly things are. So when there isn't a manual or pictures kind of pointing some of that out, it makes it difficult for people like this. And for me, the only way I found them was to open it in the editor, open it in a text editor, and search for the bale destroyer. I mean, there's other tricks you can use, but you kind of need to know what to look for, unfortunately. The links in this description for the Audubon mod and BGA mod lead to old add-ons from version 1. Which one do I actually need? Kudos to the mapper. He's happy he just wants the correct version of the mod. So, yes, there are very many improvements compared to version 1. For example, the map. Well, yeah, I don't know what that means. Kind of a say nothing comment. I thought version 1 was better. What's at the second cow pasture isn't the one in the bottom right enough. And how can I increase the clip distance again so I can see all the trees, all the buildings, and most importantly, whether the gate is open or closed, because the gate only becomes visible when I'm standing 10 meters away from it. Wow. Yeah, that person must have their system screwed down tight, maybe on the lowest settings. I don't think I've had that problem. Anyway, more feedback on the different version. Apparently they don't like version 3. I can't get V2 to run. No idea why. V1 ran perfectly. Yeah, and so much of the time, I think a lot of this is down to other mods, being used or whatever, and yeah, it may not be the fault of the map at all. Might be other things that are causing it. So, let me see, did I read this side? I think I did. Alright, down here. So I uploaded pictures 16 and 17. Lots of pictures of the map. Someone's showing a YouTube they made. The motorway is a bit of a pain, but otherwise just one word, awesome. I don't know why they'd say the motorway is a bit of a pain. I mean, you don't even drive out on the thing, so... I mean, I suppose you could if you wanted to, but I don't see the point. Because there's really only one place you can get on or get off the thing, and once you're on it, I don't know how you turn around. So, I mean, that's... Anyway, maybe someone was trying to go down the motorway. I don't know why you would do that. Lunchtime, this map is good, but version 1 is better because everything happens so late. As if someone pressed pause and started. The cars and pedestrians. The silo at the farm is superfluous. The one in version 1, the open air silo, is better. Yeah, more feedback. Multiplayer is useless. Version 2, map is cool, but I can't find the biogas plant and I don't have the correct mod in. Can you also play the Audubon add-on and the BGA add-on with version 1? Probably not. Where can one pick up the grain that was unloaded behind the grain trading company? Yeah, these people are probably asking questions of changes that happened in V1 to V3. Another download link, please. I don't know what that means. Seemed like the ones they had there worked. Very nice map. I really liked it. I haven't experienced previously mentioned problems with the BGA highway. Everything works well. However, there are a couple things that I think could be improved. When harvesting corn on field number 5, a car occasionally speeds through the field. Oh, really? I'm gonna have to check that out. I haven't noticed that at all. Maybe it's some kid going joyriding in the farm field like they do in real life. At the intersection of the country road and the highway on-ramp, cars are very often stopped in the middle of the road, creating a traffic jam, making it impossible to get through, especially in owning a course play. Quite a few objects with collision detection, which makes traffic difficult, especially on the narrow paths. Yeah, there's a complaint about that too. Likes the smaller paths, but there shouldn't be fences with collisions on them. You frequently get stuck. The ends can stay, but it would be better without. There's a thoughtful comment. All in all, a visually very nice map, which in my opinion could still be improved a bit. Yeah, I mean, they have some points, and some of those, probably a lot of people fixed on their own. But I'm really curious about field number 5. I'll have to check that out and see the car that speeds through the field. And I almost think I added a bit of Lua code to the sample mod map to help with the traffic, to maybe reduce the number of cars on the road. That's kind of how I've tried to fix it at, and I maybe could even reduce it a little bit more too. So anyway, I got tons of comments to go here, so I'm gonna have to do some more episodes like this. I see we're coming to a close. So anyway, I've enjoyed kind of reading through them. Thank you for stopping by to listen, and hope you all are doing well. I will see you on the next one. Goodbye.